Hey friends, if y'all are having some problems with your hydroponic garden, I'm going to give you a few tips that you can use to check to see if maybe that might be the cause. So there are several things involved with hydroponic gardens. There's equipment, there's water, there's food, there are the plants themselves, there's the conditions, the lighting. So there's a lot. There are a lot of little variables in here that if something's not right, then the plant may not thrive. So one thing that could be the issue, so every plant likes a certain pH. That means either acidity or alkaline type of conditions. So peppers, they like acid type of conditions. These guys probably are more alkaline. Beans are definitely more of an alkaline. They like that. So what could be the reason that your water may be, like my water, let's take mine for example. Mine is, we get water from a cave system, so it's an aquifer, and that tends to leach in minerals, calcium, whatnot, and it tends to make it very alkaline. So what I do, when I do actually mix it with these materials here that give it the nutrition, it tends to balance it out. So granted, this is one of those do as I say, not as I do things, because unfortunately I do tend to haphazardly mix things together, and it's probably not the best idea. So what you should do is to put different, if you have different buckets similar to this or different environments, make sure that they have similar pH values. So if you have peppers, put peppers together, peppers, tomatoes, they like acidic. If you have beans or leafy greens, they could possibly want more alkaline. So just do your research on what you're planting and kind of plan appropriately on what exactly you want to do. So that may be one reason why they're not thriving. And they have little things that you can test the water to periodically make sure, and then you can put more acid or more base in to get it to the level that you want it. And that will make sure that that water is optimized. Now, another reason is that you might not have equipment that might be working well. Inside of all of this, right, there's a pump in here. Let's pop this one open. There's a pump in there that's putting the water up. And there's a tube that goes up, and then there's a tiny little sprayer. So something in here may not be going right. So if your plants are droopy, and they will tell you when something's wrong. If they're looking droopy, they don't look good, the color's not all, his color is off, or something's not right, then it could be maybe some of the equipment is not functioning properly. So I had that happen to me just recently. So, I have this kind of running off of a wonky little system here, off of a battery with, an inverter going into a timer, which then hits these and turns them all on. So this little guy was busted, wasn't working. So, even though it was saying, hey, I'm turning on the power, it wasn't turning on the power. And unfortunately, it kind of died on me. So I had a spare, which is good. And so I was able to replace it, and then I kind of rearranged some things. So it ended up working out fine, but equipment might fail. So you'll have to kind of periodically check things to make sure that everything is running right. And like I said, your plants are going to tell you. And kind of the good thing about these little systems is that they can survive for a little while when things aren't running right. So now you can see it's running now as it should. It's only going to run for a minute. That's all I need. And so now it's spraying over every single one of these, and that's going. So anyway, like I said, check your plants. Your plants are going to tell you when things aren't right. Color's going to be off, they're going to be droopy, so check that to see if your equipment is working well. And you have to do maintenance on this equipment, your environments too, right? So things can go wrong with cleaning them out. So you need to make sure that you clean these things out. Now granted, you see it's a white bucket, so that means that light is going to go through. You have solution in here, it's wet, so I will get algae growth. That will happen. So if these are outside, it would be even a bigger problem. So if you can, maybe cover this up with some material or something that will block the light from coming in. And then that will keep you from having algae growing, all over this stuff. So you don't want that. Another thing you may have, and you're dealing with plants, doesn't really matter where they are, bugs are going to end up gravitating towards your plants. That's going to happen. I have issues with some bugs, and so this is where it's kind of like it's in your court. How do you want to deal with it? I don't like using pesticides or anything like that. So I try to create an environment that they don't like, or I try to do my best to try to keep them out. I'm not always successful, and they do happen to get in here. So what I try to do is limit the exposure to the environment that they like. So they like wet, moist areas, especially gnats. I have problems with gnats, always have, probably always will. They do tend to get in there, and they will put the little things in there and make a mess. And sometimes if you're trying to grow seedlings, they will eat up your seedlings. So limit the exposure to those critters. Another thing too, you have wet systems, right? Water. Another critter that loves water is mosquitoes. So, I'm not sure that's a problem in your area, but it certainly is in mine. And they carry nasty diseases, and I don't like it. So everything I do, I really try to limit any way that they can get into here, because if not, they're going to get in there, and then next time you pop it open, here come a whole pile of mosquitoes, and well, they like feast on humans. So do your best, keep them out. And so another issue, so you got bugs, got equipment, cleaning, and it may be that you want to grow something, it's just simply just not going to work out. Sometimes if you convert a soil plant over to a water garden, that might not work. Sometimes it works really well, sometimes it just doesn't work at all. I had some luck with the banana plant. That worked out really well. It's outside, it's running, it's doing great, getting acclimated to our hot sun. However, some plants don't work out, and you know what? You kind of learn, to see what works, what doesn't. Now granted, what I like to do is I like to grow everything from seed. That way they start off in the environment that they are going to be in forever. So I have more success with that than I do anything else. If I try to transplant plants over from one environment to another one, there's too much shock, and they're just not suited towards it. So these grow up in water. They've never touched soil, ever. So think of it, kind of starting your seeds off in the environment they're going to grow. And granted, some things don't work out, especially for me, and especially on strawberries. I've never in my life been able to grow strawberries. It just doesn't work. So this one just ended up, probably got a combination of crap bugs. Seeds just didn't like it. This is way too moist, and I don't think that strawberries like wet legs, so wet roots. So strawberries and me, it's just not going to happen. I'll just have to buy them. Now other things, on the other hand, do well, right? So these are pepper plants. I am direct seeding these in. These are some cherry peppers. They taste really good. They're not spicy, not too spicy, but they grow really well and fast and make a lot of peppers. So this one looks like it's kind of doing the I'm tired, I'm kind of done, and so it's moving on. So that's time to kind of grow another one. So like I said, there are a couple of things, with a hydroponic garden, same as like any other garden. It is not a perfect science, right? So you're going to have to just watch your plants. Your plant's going to tell you what they need. Look at the environment, test it occasionally, make sure it works. This is equipment, and over time it's going to fail. Like this will probably fail at some point. Has moving parts, and it's in the hot. It'll get over 110 degrees in here Fahrenheit. So it's going to be, it might not be good for a little bit longer. Battery will probably wear out at some point. All this equipment will wear out. So just be ready for it when it happens. And just know that your plants can probably survive a little bit. Just check on them, make sure they're good. And hopefully with that, you will be in good shape, and you're going to grow a lot of awesome food. Thanks for watching. Y'all take care. Have a good day.